Hey, it's Kevin with Patient.dev, and we're going to look at the App.html that I shared on REPL. So this file is a little longer than the other ones, but it shows you how to actually get data back. So there's a doc type, and there's some HTML tags. Inside the head tags, we're including FHIR client and jQuery. I use FHIR client to handle the OAuth 2 workflow sequence, just so I don't have to roll my own. Inside a body, we have some pre-tags with the ID of meds, which we're going to use jQuery to populate once we get data back, and then where all the action takes place in the script tags. So I tend to define a global called myapp that I then put data into. You can do this however you want, but what I'm doing here is creating a global myapp. When FHIR.OAuth2.ready is finished, then it's going to make something called myapp.smart, and it's going to stash the client in there. And that's going to be the FHIR thing that you see in the global. And then we're going to do requests. It's going to be an asynchronous function called doRequests. Now, FHIR client has a way of fetching data itself. I like to use fetch, which is native to the browsers nowadays. And what I do to use fetch, and it makes it easier when I'm trying to do creates and make documents and stuff like that. I just find it works a lot better. So we're going to create a variable called meds, and we're going to await this fetch. myapp.smart.state.service URL is the URL that you OAuth 2'd against. So if we actually run this, let's see. So you get an idea. We're going to log in. There's the launch.html. We're going to go in as Wilma Smart. We're going to then let ourselves connect. And I'm going to open up the dev tools here, and it got something from medication order. Now, if you look here, myapp.smart is actually an object. It's that client that was returned, and it has this state object within it. Inside of state, there is a server URL, which is actually the server that we authenticated against. In index.html, it's actually this ISS right here. Okay. So in app.html, we're going to fetch from that URL /medication order, where the patient is myapp.smart patient ID, which we'll look here, myapp.smart.patient.id is this for Wilma. We're going to pass it an object here, which is the headers. Now for FHIR, you need to do application/JSON plus FHIR, and you have to give it the authorization token, which is a bearer token, and that token is actually the access token in this guy right here. So state and token response and access token. Now obviously, by the time this has posted, it is no longer going to be a valid access token. So once we fetch the medication order resource, then we're going to return the data. Since it's an async function, the response is going to wait for meds.json, and we're going to log the response, and then we're going to use jQuery and make the text of this pre-tag up here json.stringify the response with some tabs so it looks a little prettier. If we look in here, see that this object here is the console.log object. There's a bunch of entries and resource, and inside of here we have a medication reference. So this one is D5W with heparin. So that was logged, and here's the pre-tag that you can look at there. And if you didn't have this big thing here, you see all the JSON that got returned for this. I believe this is contained because it's actually a mixture of D5W as well as heparin. So you have different ingredients one of which being D5W, which is dextrose water, as well as heparin. So that is App.html. That is getting the OAuth 2 sequence finished, and then doing a request to get medication orders, and then putting those inside of the DOM. So I hope you learned something from this series of videos, and please feel free to email me any thoughts, responses at kevin@patient.dev. Thanks for watching.